My name is Michael Turner, and I need you to listen carefully, because what I am about to say is not easy for me to carry, and it may not be easy for you to hear. I died, not slowly, not peacefully, but suddenly, completely, undeniably. And in that moment, when everything I believed ended, I found myself standing in a reality I had spent my whole life doubting. I met Jesus. Even now, saying his name feels like stepping back into that place, that unbearable, holy clarity where nothing can be hidden, where every thought, every choice, every silent rejection of truth stands exposed without a single word being spoken. I was not ready for him. I did not believe in him the way I should have. I questioned, I dismissed, I delayed. And yet, he was there. Not as an idea, not as a story, but as presence, as truth, as something so real it erased every excuse I had ever made. And he showed me something I have tried, again and again, to forget. April 2026, 3 events. Not symbolic, not vague, not open to interpretation. Clear, precise, unavoidable. I have wrestled with this more than you can understand. There were days I told myself it was nothing, just the brain shutting down, just fragments of fear stitched together into something that felt divine. But every time I tried to silence it, the same words returned. Not loud, not forceful, but impossible to escape. Keep speaking. I would distract myself, fill my days with noise, surround myself with anything that could drown out that memory. But the truth does not fade. It waits. It presses. It burns quietly until you either speak or you break. The truth must be told. I am not standing here as someone special. I am not chosen because I am worthy. If anything, I was the least prepared, the least deserving, the least willing. That is what makes this harder. Because I know what I was, and I know what I saw, and I know that silence, after witnessing something like that, becomes a kind of betrayal I cannot live with. So I am speaking now, not from confidence, but from obedience. Because in that place, beyond breath, beyond time, beyond everything I thought was real, I made a vow. If I was sent back, if I was given another chance to open my eyes, to breathe again, to stand again among the living, I would not stay silent, even if my voice trembles, even if I am misunderstood, even if everything I say sounds impossible. He called my name in the dark, not with sound, but with knowing. And when he did, I understood something I had spent my entire life avoiding. That truth is not something you control. It is something you answer to. And now, I am answering. Because what is coming is not far away. April the 2026 is not a distant idea. It is approaching, quietly, steadily, like something already set in motion long before we ever thought to look. 3 events. I was shown all of them. I wish I could tell you this is just a story. I wish I could tell you none of it matters, but I cannot. Because once you have seen what I have seen, once you have stood where I stood, you realize something that changes everything. That time is not as long as we think. That truth is not as hidden as we pretend. And that mercy does not wait forever. Keep speaking, so I will. Even if this is the last thing I am ever understood for. Even if this costs me everything I used to call my life. Because what I was shown was not given to me to keep. It was given to be spoken. And now, it begins. And before all of that, before the light, before the voice, before my name was called in that place where nothing can hide, there was a life that felt ordinary, so ordinary that I never questioned it. I wake up the same way every morning, half aware, reaching for my phone before my eyes are fully open. The glow of the screen greets me before the sun ever does. Notifications, messages, news, noise, always noise. I scroll without thinking. I consume without feeling. And somehow, hours disappear like that. I tell myself it's normal. I tell myself this is what everyone does. Stay busy, stay distracted, stay moving. Because if I stop, even for a moment, something deeper starts to rise. And I don't want to face it. So I keep moving. Coffee brewing in the background. The low hum of routine filling the silence I refuse to sit inside. I remember standing in my kitchen one morning, staring at nothing in particular, just holding the cup in my hand as the steam curled upward like something trying to speak. And for a second, just a second, everything felt still, too still, like the world had paused. But I hadn't noticed until it was already happening. He called my name in the dark. I didn't understand that then. Back then, I called it stress, fatigue, overthinking, anything but what it was, because naming it would mean acknowledging it, and acknowledging it would mean I might have to change. So I buried it. I go to work. Same route, same traffic, same faces that never really look at each other. People moving, but not arriving. Conversations that sound full, but feel empty. Laughter that fades too quickly, like it was never meant to last. And somewhere inside all of that, I feel it again. That quiet pull, that unexplainable tension beneath everything. Like something is waiting, just beneath the surface of the world I think I understand. But I ignore it. I turn up the radio. I check my phone again. I fill every gap with something, anything, so I don't have to sit in that feeling. Because that feeling asks something of me. It doesn't shout. It doesn't force. It waits. And I was not ready to answer. I didn't believe, not really. I told myself I was open-minded, curious, willing to explore. But the truth is, I kept everything at a distance. Faith was something other people needed, something for the weak, or the desperate, or the broken. Not for me. I believed in what I could see, what I could control, what I could explain, and anything beyond that. I dismissed quietly, not with anger, but with indifference, which is far more dangerous. He called my name in the dark, but I chose not to hear it, because hearing it would mean surrender. And I was still holding tightly to the illusion that I was in control. Control over my life, control over my future, control over what mattered and what didn't. But control is a fragile thing. It looks strong until the moment it shatters. And before it shattered, there were signs. Small ones, easy to overlook. Moments where the world felt slightly out of place, like a picture not fully aligned in its frame. A silence where there should have been sound. A heaviness where there should have been ease. I remember one afternoon, sitting alone in my car after work, engine off, hands resting on the steering wheel, and I couldn't explain why I didn't want to move. Nothing was wrong. And yet, everything felt wrong. Not in a loud way, not in a way that demanded attention, but in a quiet, persistent way that refused to disappear, like a question I didn't want to answer. You were brought here to remember. I didn't know those words then, but I felt them, faintly, like an echo I couldn't trace, and instead of leaning into it, I pulled away. I started filling my time even more noise, more distraction, more distance between me and anything that felt real, because real things require response. And I wasn't ready to respond. I convinced myself that life was fine, that meaning was optional, that truth could wait, that I had time. There is something dangerous about believing you have time, because it makes you comfortable in places you were never meant to stay. It makes you ignore the quiet warnings, the gentle pull, the subtle shift in the air that tells you something is coming. And something was coming. I could feel it, but I refused to name it, because naming it would make it real, and I wasn't ready for real. So I kept going, day after day, routine after routine, living, but not awake, breathing, but not aware, existing, but not truly seeing. He called my name in the dark, and I turned the other way. That was my life. Right up until the moment. Everything stopped. That was my life. Right up until the moment. Everything stopped. It happens without warning. No build-up. No time to prepare. No final chance to reconsider the life I had been living. 1 second. I am there, inside the noise, inside the movement, inside the illusion that tomorrow is guaranteed. And the next, everything fractures. There is a sound, sharp, violent, unnatural, not just heard, but felt. Like the world itself has been struck out of alignment. Time doesn't move the way it used to. It stretches. It slows. Moments begin to separate, like they are being pulled apart strand by strand. I remember the weight of impact, the sudden force that steals control from my body without asking permission. My hands, no longer responding. My breath caught somewhere between coming and going, my thoughts scattered, unable to gather themselves into anything clear. And then the sounds. They distort. What should be loud becomes distant. What should be immediate becomes delayed. Like I am already slipping away before I understand that I am. There is confusion at first, a desperate attempt to hold on, to regain control, to return to the version of reality I recognize. But control is gone, completely. My chest tightens, then empties. Breath becomes something I remember, not something I can do. And in that moment, something inside me realizes, this is it. Not dramatically, not with panic, but with a quiet, undeniable knowing. This is where it ends. He called my name in the dark, and suddenly, everything begins to release. The fear I expected doesn't stay. It flickers for a moment, brief, sharp, instinctive, and then it dissolves, replaced by something I cannot explain. A stillness, not the absence of sound, but the absence of resistance. Like something inside me stops fighting. I am no longer holding on. And that is when it happens. I am no longer inside my body. There is no sensation of leaving, no tearing, no force, no struggle. Just a shift, a separation so natural it feels like it was always meant to happen this way. I am above, looking down, and what I see takes a moment to understand, because it doesn't feel like me. That body, still broken, surrounded by movement and urgency. It feels distant, familiar, but no longer mine. I recognize it, but I am no longer attached to it. And that realization should terrify me, but it doesn't. Because something else is already taking hold. A calm so deep, it silences every question before it can form. There are people moving, hands reaching, voices speaking, but I don't hear them clearly. Not because they are quiet, but because they no longer belong to the space I am in. I am aware of them, but I am no longer part of their world. The distance between us is not measured in space. It is something else, something final. He called my name in the dark, and I begin to understand. I am leaving, not in theory, not in fear, but in truth. The life I knew, the one I assumed would continue, the one I thought I controlled. It is already behind me, and I didn't even realize when it slipped away. There is a moment, brief but clear, where I look at everything I used to call important, and it all feels weightless, not meaningless, but incomplete, like shadows of something I never fully understood while I was inside it. And then I see it. At first, it is not overwhelming, not blinding, not consuming, just a presence, a light, distant, but undeniable. It doesn't rush toward me. It doesn't force itself into my awareness. It waits, and yet I am drawn to it, not pulled, not compelled, but invited. There is something in it, something alive, something that feels more real than anything I have ever known. And as I begin to move, not with steps, not with effort, but with intention, I feel the last traces of the world I came from begin to fall away. Fear, gone. Confusion, fading. Attachment, loosening. What remains is clarity. A quiet understanding that I am crossing something I cannot return from. And strangely, there is peace. Not because I understand what is happening, but because I no longer need to. He called my name in the dark, and I am no longer resisting the call. The light grows closer, or maybe I am moving deeper into it. It begins to fill everything, not just what I see, but what I am. And in that moment, I know I have fully left the world behind. There is no turning back now, only forward, only truth, only what comes next, only forward, only truth, only what comes next. And as I move, if movement is even the right word, the light begins to change. It is no longer distant. It surrounds me. Not as something external, but as something I am entering. Something I am becoming aware of from the inside. It feels like passing through a veil that was never meant to be seen, only crossed. The light forms a passage, not with walls, not with edges, but with motion. A tunnel, if I must call it something, but not made of space the way we understand it. It flows, it breathes, it carries, and I am inside it. He called my name in the dark. And now, there is no darkness here, only layers of living brightness, moving like currents, folding into one another with a kind of intelligence I cannot explain. The deeper I go, the more I feel everything I used to be, loosening, not erased, but released. Regret falls away. Fear dissolves completely. The need to understand fades into something quieter. There is no urgency here, no pressure, no time, only presence and the atmosphere. It is not empty. It is full. Full in a way the world never was. There is warmth, but not heat. There is stillness, but not silence. Everything feels held, sustained, known, and the light. It is alive. Not in the way living things move, but in the way truth exists. It responds. It surrounds. It knows. I can feel it touching every part of me. Not physically, but completely. Like it sees through me, into me, beyond me. And yet, there is no fear in that. Only peace. A peace so deep it feels like it has always been there, waiting for me to arrive. Then, something else begins to emerge. Sound, but not sound as I knew it before. There are no clear notes, no defined melody. And yet, it is music, living music, flowing through the light itself, not entering my ears, but filling my awareness. Each tone feels like meaning. Each movement feels like understanding, as if everything that could ever be spoken is being expressed without words, and I understand it, not intellectually, not through thought, but completely. He called my name in the dark, and here, I no longer need to search for anything, because everything is already known. And then, I become aware that I am not alone. They are there, not approaching, not intruding, simply present. Other souls, like some feel familiar, though I cannot place them in memory. Others feel ancient, carrying a weight of existence far beyond anything I have known. But there is no strangeness in it, no fear, only recognition, not of faces, but of essence. I know them, and they know me. And yet, no words are exchanged. There is no need. Understanding flows freely, instantly, completely. It is as if all barriers that once separated thought from thought, being from being, have been removed. There is nothing to hide here, nothing to protect, nothing to defend. And in that openness, something overwhelming begins to rise. Love, not the kind I knew before, not conditional, not fragile, not dependent on response. This is something else, something vast, something that does not come and go, but simply is. It fills everything. It moves through everything. It becomes everything, and it reaches me, not from a distance, but from within. As if it has always been there, waiting for me to stop resisting it. I feel it completely, and it breaks something open inside me, not painfully, but fully. Every part of me that was closed, guarded, disconnected, begins to unfold. And I realize, this is what I was missing. Not success, not certainty, not control. This presence, this love that asks nothing, but reveals everything. He called my name in the dark, and now I understand why. Because this place, this reality, was never far away. I was. I was the one who stayed distant. I was the one who refused to see. And yet, I was still brought here. Not because I found my way, but because I was called. The light begins to deepen, not brighter, but fuller, as if I am approaching something, or someone, at the center of it all. The movement slows, the flowing passage opens, and the space ahead becomes still, completely still, not empty, not silent, but waiting, filled with a presence so vast, so undeniable, that everything within me becomes aware at once. This is not just the place. This is where he is. The atmosphere changes, not in peace, but in depth, like stepping from the edge of an ocean into its center. And I know, without being told, I have arrived. He called my name in the dark, and now I stand in the place where that call began. He called my name in the dark, and now I stand in the place where that call began. There is no form at first, no outline, no figure I can describe, only presence, a presence so vast, so deeply alive, that everything within me responds before I can even begin to understand it. It is not something I see, it is something I encounter. And in that encounter, I am undone. Every part of me that once held identity, every title, every belief, every quiet justification I carried through life, falls away in a single, overwhelming awareness. I am fully known, not partially, not selectively, completely. He called my name in the dark, And here, there is nowhere to hide from that call. It reaches into everything I am and reveals everything I have been. My life unfolds, not as memory the way I used to remember it, but as something living, something present, something undeniable. Every moment, every word I spoke, every silence I chose, every opportunity I turned away from, every truth I avoided when it came too close. It is all there, not shown to me one piece at a time, but all at once. And I see it, not through my own perspective, but through truth itself. I see how I affected people, how my presence shaped moments I barely noticed, how my indifference created distance where love could have been. I see the times I knew and still chose not to act, the moments where something inside me stirred and I silenced it. I see it all, and it would be unbearable if not for what surrounds it, because there is no condemnation here, no anger, no rejection, only understanding, pure, unfiltered, complete understanding. And that breaks me more than judgment ever could. He called my name in the dark, and now I understand. That call was never about exposing me to destroy me. It was about revealing me so I could finally see. I feel something I have never felt before. Not shame, not exactly, but a deep, aching awareness of what could have been, of what I was created for, and how far I had drifted from it without even realizing. And yet, there is still no rejection, only presence, only truth, held inside something that feels like love beyond anything I have known. And slowly, gently, the awareness shifts from my life to him. The presence begins to take form, not suddenly, not sharply, but like something emerging from within the light itself. And I know. Before I see clearly, I know. It is him, Jesus. Not as I imagined, not confined to the limits of my understanding, but as something far greater, a presence that carries both authority and gentleness in perfect unity. Nothing in me resists anymore. There is no argument left, no doubt to cling to, only surrender. Complete, undeniable surrender. He called my name in the dark, and now I am standing before the one who called it. I cannot stand in the way I once understood standing. It is deeper than posture. It is my entire being, yielding, not forced, not demanded, but drawn into surrender by the truth of who he is. And in that moment, I realized something I never understood while I was alive, that he sees everything and still draws near, that nothing I carried, nothing I avoided, nothing I misunderstood was hidden from him. And yet, I was still brought here. There is a silence, but it is not empty. It is full of meaning. And within that silence, something is given to me, not as sound, but as knowing. You were brought here for a reason. It moves through me, not as words I hear, but as truth I receive. It settles into me with a weight that cannot be questioned. I understand it immediately, not intellectually, but completely. I was not here by accident. This moment, this encounter, this unveiling of everything I was and everything I failed to see, it was intentional. He called my name in the dark, and now I know why. There is something more, something that has not yet been shown, but is already present. I can feel it, like the edge of a revelation that has not yet fully opened. And with it, a weight returns. Not fear, but responsibility. Because I begin to understand This is not only for me. What I am being shown, what I am about to receive, it is meant to be carried back. It is meant to be spoken. And with that understanding, the whisper returns. Stronger now, clearer, impossible to ignore. Keep speaking. It does not ask. It does not suggest. It calls. And I feel it settle into me like a vow already made, even before I fully remember making it. I know, somehow, that I will return, that this is not the end of my story, and that what comes next will change everything. The light deepens again. The presence remains, steady, unshaken, eternal. And I am drawn further into what he came to show me. And I am drawn further into what he came to show me. The light does not fade. It deepens, not brighter, but heavier with meaning. It begins to move, not around me, but through me, as if what I am about to see is not placed before my eyes, but written directly into my being. He called my name in the dark, and now the future opens, not as imagination, not as possibility, but as something already unfolding. I do not see dates the way I once understood them, but I know the time. April 2026. It settles into me with a certainty that cannot be questioned. And then, the first event begins. Not gently, not slowly, but like something long restrained, finally released. I see the world, but not as I knew it. The structures people trusted begin to fracture. Institutions once seen as unshakable tremble. Systems built on control begin to collapse under their own weight. Not all at once, but undeniably. There is confusion. People searching for stability, for answers, for something to hold on to. But what they reach for no longer holds, because what was built on illusion cannot remain. I see hidden things rising to the surface, truths buried for generations, exposed in ways no one can ignore, not whispered, not denied, revealed. And the weight of it shakes everything. Not just governments, not just systems, but hearts. Because what is revealed demands response, and I feel it, even as I witness it, a trembling across the world, not only physical, but spiritual. He called my name in the dark, and I understand now. The world must be shaken before it can be restored. It is not destruction for the sake of loss. It is exposure for the sake of truth. Everything false must fall. Everything hidden must be seen. And then the vision shifts, not away, but deeper. Because out of the shaking, something begins to rise. Quiet at first, subtle, almost unnoticed, but unstoppable. The second event, an awakening, not led by power, not organized by man, but ignited from within. I see people, across nations, across cultures, across places no one expected, stopping, turning, falling, not in fear, but in recognition. Something within them, remembering, not taught, not forced, remembered. I see it in cities, in homes, in empty rooms where no one else is watching. I see it in places that never carried his name before, in hearts that once resisted, now opening without explanation. It spreads, not like noise, but like fire beneath the surface, invisible until it is everywhere. He called my name in the dark, and now I hear it echoing through them. You were brought here to remember. And they do, not all at once, not perfectly, but truly. I see tears, not of fear, but of realization. I see people letting go of things they once held tightly, not because they are forced to, but because they finally see. Truth is not something added, it is something uncovered, and as it rises, it begins to gather, not into structures, but into unity, a quiet, powerful, undeniable shift. And for a moment, hope fills the vision. But it does not stay untouched, because the third event follows, and this one cuts deeper than the others. It is not about the world, it is about the heart. I see a line, not drawn across land, not marked by borders, but present within people, a separation, not of race, not of status, not of nation, but of response, truth on one side, comfort on the other, and each person stands before it. No one is excluded, no one is hidden, and the choice is unmistakable: to turn toward truth or to remain in what feels safe. I see some hesitate, feeling the pull, but stepping back, choosing what is familiar, even when it begins to crumble. And I see others step forward, not because it is easy, but because they cannot ignore what they now see. They were chosen, not because they were better, not because they earned it, but because they responded. Because when the call came, they answered. He called my name in the dark, and now I see that same call reaching across the world. This is not about identity the way people define it. It is not about division the way history has shaped it. This isn't just about restoration. It is about alignment, about returning, about stepping into what was always true, but long ignored. And the weight of it builds. Because I understand now. These events are not distant. They are approaching, already in motion, already unfolding in ways most people cannot yet see. And when they arrive fully, there will be no more pretending, no more delay, only response, only decision, only truth. He called my name in the dark. And now, that call is going out to everyone. The vision begins to close, not abruptly, but with a weight that remains. Because what I have seen cannot be unseen. What I have been shown cannot be forgotten. And what is coming cannot be stopped. The urgency rises, not as panic, but as truth pressing against time. And I feel it settle into me, like something I was always meant to carry, not to control, not to change, but to speak. Keep speaking. And I know. This is why I was brought here. And I know. This is why I was brought here. But the vision does not end in warning. It opens again, wider this time, deeper. As if what I was shown before was only the breaking, and now I am being shown what rises after. He called my name in the dark, and now I see what happens when others begin to hear it too. At first, it is quiet, almost invisible. Not something that would make headlines. Not something that would be noticed by the world that still clings to noise. But it is real. I see people, one by one, in places no one is watching. Alone, still. Confronted not by external force, but by something within them that refuses to stay buried. And something begins to fall, not around them, within them, chains, not made of metal, but of belief. Old patterns, false identities, lies they carried for so long they thought they were truth. And I watch them break, not violently, but completely, like something that no longer has permission to remain. He called my name in the dark, and now their eyes begin to open, not physically, but inwardly. They begin to see what was always there, but hidden beneath distraction, fear, and comfort. And when they see it, they cannot unsee it. There's a moment in each of them where everything changes. Not outwardly at first, but deeply. A shift, a turning, a returning. Return to the fire. It echoes, not as instruction, but as recognition. Because the fire was never meant to destroy them. It was meant to awaken them, and they begin to move differently. Not faster, not louder, but truer. I see it spreading. Not through systems, not through organized effort, but through connection. One life touching another. One awakening stirring the next. Treated like light passing from soul to soul, without losing its source. Across cities, across nations, across places that once felt divided beyond repair. There is something forming, not a structure, not a movement defined by name, but a unity, a shared knowing, a shared response. Truth. He called my name in the dark. And now, they are answering too. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but sincerely. And that sincerity begins to reshape everything. I see people letting go, not because they are forced, but because they no longer want to carry what is false. I see forgiveness where there was once bitterness. I see humility where there was once pride. I see surrender, not as weakness, but as strength. And from that place, something rises, not leaders the world would expect, not voices built on power or recognition, but people who have seen, people who have responded, people who no longer live for themselves alone. They will lead the world into spiritual rebirth, not by control, not by force, but by alignment, by living in truth so fully that others cannot ignore it. And the world begins to change. Not all at once, not completely, but undeniably. I see the earth, not replaced, not destroyed, but healed. As if something long wounded is finally being restored. The weight that once pressed down on everything begins to lift. The tension begins to loosen. There is still struggle, still resistance, but it no longer defines everything because something greater has begun. Return to the fire. It echoes again. And now I understand. The fire is not coming to consume the world. It is coming to refine it, to reveal what is real, by removing what is not. And those who step into it are changed, not outwardly first, but inwardly, completely. He called my name in the dark, and now I see what happens when that call is answered. Hope rises, not as emotion, but as truth. And yet, there is urgency within it, because not everyone responds, not everyone turns, not everyone chooses, and the time to choose is not endless. The vision holds there, balanced between beauty and warning, between what is possible and what is still at risk. And I feel it again, that weight, that knowing, that this is not just something I was allowed to see, it is something I was sent back to carry, to speak, to release. Keep speaking, and I will. Because what I saw was not only what is coming, but what is still being decided, and I will. Because what I saw was not only what is coming, but what is still being decided. And then, without warning, it all begins to pull away. Not violently, not suddenly, but like something gently closing. The light that held me, the presence that knew me, the clarity that defined everything, begins to recede. Not because it is leaving me, but because I am being sent. He called my name in the dark, and now I feel distance again, weight, time, something I had forgotten, returns. My body? At first, it feels foreign, heavy, unfamiliar, like trying to step back into something that no longer fits the same way. And then, impact. Not physical, but total. Breath slams back into me, sharp, burning, unnatural. My chest rises violently as if it has been forced open. Air, something I once took for granted, now feels like fire entering my lungs. Sound crashes in, too loud, too close, too chaotic. There are voices, movement, light, harsh this time, artificial, blinding in a way the other light never was. I try to move, but I can't. My body responds slowly, like it belongs to someone else. And for a moment, I don't want to be here. Not because I hate life, but because I have seen something more real than this. And now, everything feels distant, flat, incomplete. He called my name in the dark, and I remember. Not all at once, but enough. Enough to know this world is no longer what it was. I am in a hospital. I can feel it without needing to understand it. The smell, the machines, the controlled urgency of people trying to preserve something I now know is temporary. But I am back. And with that return comes weight. Not the weight of the body, but the weight of knowing. Days pass, or maybe hours. Time feels different now, unstable. I watch people move around me. They speak, they explain, they measure, but none of it reaches where I have been, because what I carry does not fit inside their understanding, and eventually, I try to speak. Not everything at once, just fragments, pieces, enough to release the pressure building inside me. But when I do, I see it. The shift, the doubt, the careful distance people create when something sounds too far from what they can accept. They listen, but they don't hear. They nod, but they don't understand. And I realize something I was not prepared for, coming back, is harder than leaving. Because here, truth is resisted. Not always loudly, not always intentionally, but deeply. He called my name in the dark, and now I am speaking into a world that has forgotten how to listen. There are moments I question it, not the experience, but myself. Was it real? Was it something my mind created in the space between life and death? The doubt doesn't come from what I saw. It comes from everything around me trying to make it smaller, explainable, dismissible, safe. And for a moment, I almost let it, because it would be easier. Easier to return to the life I knew. Easier to pretend nothing happened. Easier to stay quiet. But the truth does not loosen its hold. It presses, it reminds, it burns quietly beneath every attempt to ignore it. The truth must be told, and with that, something else begins. Resistance, not always visible, not always clear, but real. I feel it in moments of hesitation, in the sudden weight of fear when I think about speaking openly, in the pressure to stay silent, to keep it contained, to let it fade. There are nights where the memory feels too heavy, too sacred to explain, too overwhelming to carry alone, and yet too important to bury. He called my name in the dark, and I know silence is not an option, even when it costs me, even when I am misunderstood, even when I feel alone in what I carry, because I am alone in one way, but not in another. I remember the presence, I remember the truth, and I remember the vow. Keep speaking, it returns again, clearer now, stronger, not as a whisper, but as something rooted in me. And I realize this is the cost, not suffering for the sake of suffering, but obedience in the face of resistance, and carrying something the world does not easily receive, speaking something that disrupts comfort, holding on to truth, when everything around you encourages you to release it. And still, I choose, not once, but again and again, to speak, to remember, to remain aligned with what I was shown. He called my name in the dark, and I will not pretend I didn't hear it. Even here, even now, even when it would be easier to forget. I will not forget. I will not turn away. I will not stay silent, because what I was given was never meant to stay with me alone. Because what I was given was never meant to stay with me alone. And if you are still here, still listening, still allowing these words to reach you, then you need to understand something. This is not accidental. You did not arrive here by accident. There is a reason you are hearing this now. There is a reason something in you has not turned away. He called my name in the dark. And now, in a way you may not fully recognize yet, He is calling yours. There is a war for your soul, not loud, not obvious, not something the world teaches you to see, but constant, subtle, unfolding beneath your routines, beneath your distractions, beneath the things you tell yourself matter most. It is not fought with weapons. It is fought with attention, with truth, or the absence of it, with what you choose to face and what you choose to ignore. And most people are not prepared. Not because they are weak, but because they have been taught to look everywhere except where it matters most. They are busy, distracted, comfortable, and comfort can be the most dangerous place to remain when truth is calling. He called my name in the dark, and I almost ignored it, just like many are still ignoring it now. But there comes a moment when ignoring is no longer possible, when what is coming demands a response. April 2026 is not just a date, it is a threshold. And the question is not whether it will come. It will. The question is, who will be ready to see it for what it is? Because what I was shown was not meant to create fear. It was meant to awaken, to call, to prepare. And you were chosen to hear this, not because you are better, not because you are ahead, but because something in you is still open, still willing, still able to respond. You were brought here to remember. Not religion, not routine, not empty repetition of things that never reach your heart. Truth, living truth, the kind that changes you, the kind that demands something from you, the kind that leads you back, not to systems, but to Him. Return to the fire, not the fire of destruction, but the fire of refinement, the place where everything false falls away, and only what is real remains. Return to Christ, not as an idea, not as a distant figure, but as truth, as presence, as the one who sees you fully and still calls you closer. Return to the Gospels, not as stories, but as a mirror, as a way back, as a voice that has never stopped speaking, even when the world grew too loud to hear it. He called my name in the dark. And now, I am asking you, will you answer? Or will you turn away, like I did, until turning away is no longer possible? Because there will come a moment when the choice becomes clear. Not easy, but clear. Truth or comfort. Surrender or control. Awakening or delay. And delay is not as harmless as it feels. Time is moving, faster than most people realize, and what is coming will not wait for everyone to be ready. That is why this matters. That is why I am speaking. That is why you are hearing this now. This is not content. This is not entertainment. This is a call, And if you have felt even a small shift inside you while listening, that is where it begins. Not out there, in here, in you, on this channel, minutes beyond life. These are not just stories. They are reminders, fragments of something deeper, reaching through the noise, calling people back to what is real, back to what matters, back to the truth they were never meant to forget. He called my name in the dark, and now he is calling yours. The only question that remains is whether you will answer. The only question that remains is whether you will answer, because I still see it, even now. Not with my eyes, but with something deeper that never closed again after that moment. The light, that place, that presence. It does not fade the way memories are supposed to fade. It stays, sharp, alive, unchanging. He called my name in the dark, and sometimes, in the quiet moments, when the noise of this world finally loosens its grip, I feel it again. That stillness, that knowing, that overwhelming clarity where everything makes sense, and nothing can pretend to be more than it is. And then I look around me, at this world, at the movement, the urgency, the endless distractions that keep people from ever stopping long enough to ask what any of this truly means. And I feel the contrast, deeply. This life, as real as it feels, is not the full story. It is not the end. It is not even the clearest part. It is the beginning. And I did not understand that until I left it. He called my name in the dark, and when I stepped beyond it, I saw what remains when everything else falls away. Not possessions, not status, not the things we spend so much time protecting. Only truth, only what was real, only what was lived, not just outwardly, but inwardly. And that realization does not leave you. It changes the way you see everything, the way you move, the way you think, the way you measure what matters and what never did. Because one day, whether we prepare or not, whether we believe or not, whether we accept it or spend our lives avoiding it, we will all stand in that same clarity, that same light, that same place where nothing is hidden. This isn't just my story. It never was. It is a glimpse, a warning, a reminder of something every single one of us will face. And when that moment comes, there will be no distractions left, no noise to hide behind, no delay, only truth. He called my name in the dark, and one day, he will call yours. Not as a possibility, not as a distant idea, but as something that cannot be avoided. And in that moment, there will be only one question that matters. Did you respond, or did you turn away? Not once, but every time you were given the chance to see. Because the call is not rare, it is constant. It comes in quiet moments, in discomfort you try to ignore, in truth you feel but cannot explain, in the subtle pull that asks you to stop, to look, to return. Return to the fire, not later, not when it is easier, not when life slows down enough for you to finally consider it. Now, because time is not as endless as it feels, and truth does not wait forever to be answered. The time is now. Choose. Not loudly, not forcefully, but clearly. And once you hear it, you cannot pretend you didn't. He called my name in the dark, and I answered, too late to avoid it, but not too late to carry it back. You are hearing this now, while there is still time, while the choice is still yours to make, while the door is still open. So listen closely, not to me, but to what is stirring inside you even now, because that That quiet awareness, that unexplainable weight, that pull you cannot fully name, that is where it begins. That is where the answer is waiting. And whether you respond or remain where you are will shape more than this moment, more than this life, more than you can see from where you stand now. He called my name in the dark, and the echo of that call is still moving, still reaching, still waiting. The time is now. Choose,